I want the company to succeed, and anything I can do to do that, I'll do it.
We don't really have time to be sentimental every day, during business. But is there anything you wanted to say to Nadia or Abdul?
Thank you both for everything y'all have done for children. It's a lot. It's probably way more than you'll ever know. Thank you for what you've done to my family. We didn't get into that, but I was out. I have a heart valve. I had a heart valve replaced. I have an artificial heart valve, and I was able to work from home and maintain. Allison even brought work to me so I could do it at home while I was out. I was out for quite a while with that, but they were there for me. When my mom passed, my dad passed, they were there for me. That's what family is. It's more than just coming in and working. You know they got your back. They're there for you. Just like they got your back. I feel like that too as an employee, that they've got my back. They're there for me when I'm needed, and I'm there for them. Good morning, my name is Glenda Thomas. I work at our corporate office in Montgomery, Alabama, and I'm the Compensation Contracts Performance Director. Kind of covers everything, a little bit of everything. Contracts, we are always looking for new business in other states and in Alabama. Not only do I go out and seek new business, write proposals to get new business, and then I follow up and monitor the contracts, which includes performance. So the performance is part of monitoring our contract performance. And then the compensation is I work closely with Marquita and HR when we have new positions or we're giving out increases or anything like that. I started with Seraaj in September the 8th, 1998. So it'll be 22 years in September next month. Well, I was looking for an accounting position, and I was hired as a bookkeeper. There was an ad in the paper. I responded. Linda Pauline was my direct supervisor, and she hired me as a bookkeeper, which entailed doing accounts payables, accounts receivables, payroll, billing. I did it all. When I first started back in 1998, we had a contract with 24 children. So it was very small. And then we just grew and we grew and grew. And as we grew, we hired more people and we trained them on different parts. Now we have, a person or we have two people over payroll. We have PFT payroll, staff payroll. We have, accounts receivables, accounts payables. We have, it's a lot, way bigger than it was then. Started off as a bookkeeper in 98, and like I said, I did a little bit of everything. And as the company grew and we got more and more business, we started opening more and more offices. Then we had to hire more and more people, so I became an office manager. And so I basically managed all of the different departments. And then I moved into, contracts. I think I've been where I am for the longest. And it's kind of like, that's why I have all these different titles, because they kind of just tried to combine it all into one position. I do a lot of things. People call me, 22 years is a lot of knowledge to have. And a lot of times that people call to ask me because they think it's faster than going to the standards to look up something, but I'm pretty good about copying from the standards and say, please see TFC standards page 38, just because I like to always back up what I say.
So far, everyone's mentioned Linda. Can you tell us a little bit more about Linda?
Linda Pauline was a great person. She was a very strong leader. She loved Seraaj. Unfortunately, she had cancer, and it got better, and then it came back with a vengeance. And I remember her being so strong and dedicated that she would go and take her chemo treatments and then come back, and she, on some of these little couches that are around the building still, she would lay down on the couch and take a little nap and get right back up and get back busy. I remember when she was bedridden at home in the last months, taking work to her to sign off on or to look at to get approval. And she really took me under her wing and taught me everything I know. With the company, she did. She passed it on to me. She was a great lady. Miss her.
Is there anyone else you feel like has really helped you, mentored you since you've been here?
Of course, your father and your mother both did. In the beginning, I will never forget we would travel to different parts on our little trips. So that was my first fun experience with Seraaj. We went to the FFTA National Conference, and we would, do a lot of networking and trying to find business in different states. So we would travel, but when we weren't in the workshops or meeting and talking to people, we'd actually go out and have dinner. And I know one time we went on in Chicago, we went down that Million Mile, I think it is, where all the shops are, and did shopping, and then we went on the boat and looked at all the architecture and the buildings, and yeah, that was when I first became a traveler. So even with my personal life, that kind of set the bar of how I wanted to travel. So now I travel all the time, and I enjoy it, so yeah. I'm a beach girl, anything warm and tropical. I've done cruises, I've been to Hawaii, I've done a lot. I love to go somewhere where I have not ever been. So I want to go see the whales up the East Coast, up towards Maine, and I was going to do that this summer, but the COVID kind of slowed that down. But I am a beach girl. Anytime I can go to the beach, I'm happy. That's my happy place. It's relaxing, the waves. The mountains are too. I like the mountains also. My grandchildren, I have 8. When I first started working here too, all 3 of my children were in high school. And now they all graduated, they're all married, and they have kids. So I bring my grandkids when I need to, when they've been, out of school and their parents had to work and they had nowhere to keep them, or I've had to keep them for a few hours. I've brought pack and plays, I've brought blankets, and they love to come to my work. They always love to come to my work. And especially for Allison's football party that she used to do. They were always out of school right before Thanksgiving, and that's when she would have it, right before the Auburn-Alabama game. And they love to come to the football party and play the games. They love coming here. And Olivia, my oldest, I've got pictures of Iris in her office. She's got pictures of where they've colored and drawn. I've got pictures where the kids have colored and drawn. All the kids here, they always like to come to say hello. Everyone's children, they all are part of our family. We've all watched them grow up. So Seraaj has been all the way through this with me, so it truly is a family company. Yeah, it's so funny about that, because we always kid about the pendulum, the way it swings. And it changes because it's so political, and you hate to even bring politics into foster care at all. But at one point in time, we used to do wraparound services within 1878. Now we have contracts to provide those same services, but they call them in-home services. IIHS, yes. Intensive in-home services. I was leaving off a number there, which is fine, but we get, actually, instead of getting 1878, which is a purchase order, we actually have a contract to provide that, and that has grown tremendously. So what that is doing is trying to keep the kids in their home with their biological parents, or trying to get them back home, which is really big. And then the foster care piece, the therapeutic foster care with enhanced services, is really grown. That's taking kids that were in residential facilities and putting them in a more normal setting, such as a foster home, and being able to wrap services around it. That's huge too. To me, it's grown, but it's also so much better. We're offering so much better choices for the children. They're really closing so many residential facilities because it's kind of like housing children, they feel like, and they're trying to get them into homes so they have a more normal life. I would love to see our foster parents all have an iPad next, and they be able to enter all their information into Welligent, and we'll be able to prove it just like we do staff. No more sending notes, no more lost notes. I would love to see that. And I think that's probably a goal we can achieve in the next couple of years, I hope. But yes, I'm still frugal, but Allison is very frugal. But she would even splurge on PFT. That would save money in the long run, all the way around. Paper again, save some more trees. And the loss of the notes, and it would expedite the payroll. And the only issue with that is, you know, we have to figure out how to help the foster parents who don't have a lot of computer skills. Because if you do one, you have to do all. You can't just do half and half. So everybody would have to, so we'd have to work on getting them. But I think we can. I think in today's time, I mean, there's not too many people that don't have a computer or a smartphone.
But what do you hope for your legacy to be at the company?
Oh, wow. Just dedicated, hard worker, loyalty, probably giving and just caring about the children. Well, just getting new business, going to DC was very scary. I'll never forget me, Allison, and your dad went to DC to a providers meeting, and it was about, you know, a new contract, new RFP, a request for proposal, and it's kind of like writing a grant, basically. And we went, we listened, and we submitted it and got it, and so that was huge. And then we got a license in Maryland, that was huge. We currently still have our license in Maryland and Alabama, and we just get new. We've had so many different contracts throughout my tenure here, so just getting new contracts and maintaining the performance on the contracts. We've never had a contract close for anything bad. You know, we've always had, they either just expired, they changed it, got new ones, so we've always done, I'm really proud of that. Probably my biggest accomplishment is Welligent, the electronic health records. Kind of you think about a cell phone. Now, what in the world did we ever do without a cell phone? I mean, that's the way I feel about Welligent. What in the world did we ever do without Welligent? It's just that far. I'll be glad when we get 100% in Welligent, no paper files, but right now the state requires us to keep both, so we have both. And yesterday we had our child placing license renewal audit, and I was able to go to Welligent and print out stuff that was missing out of the file. So our actual Welligent files are probably better than our paper files, which is good, because if it's in Welligent, boom, just print it, put it in there. And actually, with that, our session notes that our workers do every day, they're all in Welligent. They're signed in Welligent, so there is no logs, there is no paper. So when they selected the 5 names, I went to Welligent and printed out all the session notes for the time they were looking at and put them in the file, which saves us a lot of paper. Because if we were printing those out daily for every client, we'd be killing several trees. So we only printed them for the audit for the 5 kids, which was really good. It was good to be able to do that. So yeah, that's probably my biggest accomplishment. Probably our first special needs, our TFC enhanced child, was probably, I'll never forget, before we created that contract and the services, and it's not all me, it's the team. The team can't do anything by yourself, it's all about teamwork. But I remember when he came into our care and he was in a facility, and they actually said, this is a very high profile case. This child's been kept in a closet, like in a car seat, and he had to wear a helmet, and I mean, it just looked really grim, and that broke my heart. It really broke my heart. And his foster parents were amazing. We have some of the most amazing foster parents ever. And our staff, they worked with him, and they finally adopted him today, and he's doing well. He started going to school. He was able to go and tell them what he wanted to eat out of the cabinets and closets. And there's another one just like that was born. We got when he was a baby, and they said he'd never talk, he'd never walk, and he's from Montgomery region, and he's walking now, and you probably know who I'm talking about. I just don't want to call out names. So those really touched me. Those stories really touched me. Yes, I think it's always affected me. And I think my experience from my own children and grandchildren helps me with the children. Also give advice sometimes for our children here. But yeah, definitely. They have a lot of, just the courses we take. I usually attend all kind of trainings on autism and different things that, as an accountant person, that you probably wouldn't usually attend, but I have so much information that where I've attended so many trainings and things, yes, it definitely has helped. It's the knowledge. We have a lot of trainings and knowledge here about children. I did watch the Seraaj kids grow up, and yes, always. Y'all are always here. Always here. Every day after school, picking up, coming in the summer. I'm trying to think of, I remember one time War Reef used to say, he would always tell me, when he grew up, he was going to be over the company, and he was going to move the company to Paris. And he was going to hire all these models to work, and I always told him, well, I'm coming with you, War Reef. I am coming with you when you go to Paris. And he'd say, okay, I guess I'll let you come. But yes, I do remember that. It's a very funny story. Mm-hmm.